Omagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnulambita Bhujo Kanakavarato Sankirtanaya Kapitaro Kamalaya Takshu Vishwambaro Dvijabaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karnavataro Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sarito Gododai Pushpavanto Chitro Samdo Tamono Vandeham Sri Ramakrishna Abhaya Charano Sako Sukkado Paramanando Sundaro Subalapriyo He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhanta Namaste Tapti Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanusute Devi Pranamami Harite Shri Guru Vaishnava Guru Parampara ki jai. Shri Radha Madhava ki
Jai.
Jai, Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Bhut Premanand.
Hari Bol.
Morning, everyone. So this will be our last meeting as far as philosophical discussion, and we'll context of tonight, this morning's talk with extend a blessing to one of our students to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and approach that method systematically. And it seems to have, weather seems to have improved a little bit. So there may be an opportunity for some of you more enthusiastic, rugged individuals to visit the land. And I don't know when exactly it fit that in. I guess after Prasadam, it's still not raining, which the forecast says it will not be. God spoke again yesterday, by the way, in county, but he hasn't given the all clear, but that's on the internet, so that would be nice. And encourage everybody to do that. You can look to Dulal Chandra and Bhakti Rasa for some help in that regard, some guidance.
Oops.
Yeah. It's not bad over there now. Quite nice. So that said, then it's nice to be with all of you, and I wanted to speak a little bit about continuing with the speaking of Radha-tattva through the portal, if you will, of Rupa Goswami's insights. We discussed a little bit about his insights in his drama Lalita Madhava, in which the appearance of Radha is discussed, told, the story is told through the person of Purnamasi. And this morning I want to speak about a song that most of you are familiar with, that we often sing, that he composed. I've commented on it before, other times, but it lends itself to considerable discussion, and that is his Sri Rupa Goswami's Radha-tattva. Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. And I'll start with the end of the song, which is significant and sets the tone a little bit for a song that otherwise ostensibly seems to be about village girls, and amongst them one in particular, how she dresses and who her friends are, and poetic descriptions of her beauty and her infatuation with someone who arguably is already taken. Very peculiar for a spiritual song, if you will, but as I say, the tone is set in one sense by the end of the song, in which Rupa Goswami says, praise for the mercy of that girl, Karunam Kurumai. So Kurumai means to give me, and Karuna means mercy. So Karunam Kurumai, your Karuna Kurumai, please give me your mercy. Karunam Kurumai. Karuna Borite, you are full of mercy. Veritably, you are composed of mercy. You are the compassionate nature of Krishna. That's what he means to say. that is an interesting point in itself. And so therefore, please give your passion, your mercy to me. It's very nice appeal to Sri Radhika on the part of Rupa Goswami, in that he seeks something that, in one sense, consideration of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, is the low end of the spectrum of love, which in this world seems to be the high end, and that is compassion. Compassion is the low end on the spectrum of love in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, because for the most part, Gaudiya Vaishnavism's love is post-liberated and beyond the world, the realm of rasa, which we've spoken about a little bit, that, again, emotional world. And I wanted to say, again, something a little bit about that to underscore how we've been describing it. We have an emotional life, and it's really everything. The physical side is just we see it, the shadow of that, how it plays out physically. That said, again, our emotional life is an abhas, or shadow of a real emotional life, and it is the chit abhas. It is the consciousness, the shadow of pure consciousness, reflecting, or the reflection of real consciousness, manifests in the subtle psychic matter that in turn gives rise to the gross matter as we understand it. We have this division of psychic and subtle matter, not an unheard of idea in the modern world today, where there's this effort to try to understand what is mind and what is matter, and is mind part of matter or part of the brain, or is it separate, or and so forth. So there are, I guess you would call them, natural dualists or property dualists, who posit the idea that there might be something called subtle matter. We don't know about it and how it works entirely, but that might be what the mind is constituted of. This is an attempt to continue with a material monistic perspective, but categorizing matter in physical and psychic. Anyway, that's a complicated subject, but that's part of, we're like property dualists, we're substance dualists, we're panpsychists, we've got all various combinations of modern theories about consciousness are all packed together in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but this is anyway one idea. So our emotional life, and I like to say our emotional life is our real life, and so forth in a sense, but at the same time, it's a shadow of what our life could be. But the point is here that the chit abhas, the shadow or the reflection of consciousness proper, manifested in psychic matter that sends physical matter in motion, constitutes an emotional life. Therefore, the chit that's not the abhas, or the reflection only of chit, is an emotional life. This is the idea. You get the point, right? So a world of emotions, a world of love, and of course, we have the servile love and fraternal love, parental love, romantic love, and so it goes on a scale, so to speak, of in terms of the intimacy it affords us with the object of love, and the object of all spiritual love in Bhakti Rasa, as we're speaking about it in the realm of the Braj, is of course Krishna. It's Krishna anywhere, in Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, in all, as much as Krishna's too. Bhagavan Swayam, the source of all these different forms of the Godhead. So love means, in the spiritual world, means love of Krishna. But we have this kind of a, objectively speaking, a gradation. Subjectively speaking, each one is perfect to each devotee, obviously. And they're content with that rasa. Sometimes they become attracted to other rasas in some ways. And those that attraction causes those other rasas have an influence on their rasa in such a way as to increase its intensity. So, no changing of rasas there. Maybe a misunderstanding of the concept of the sthayi bhav, which is synonymous with rasa and its maturity. It's dominant, it's permanent. And that's the problem here. We don't have the possibility of an enduring, emotional, loving life because the object is not enduring. So with this scale of love, then, as I say, this is all post-liberated. This is in the Chit world, right? In Paravyam, Vaikuntham, and the Mahavaikuntha that Puranas use as a term to describe the Goloka, world of Krishna Loka, also known as Goloka. So on the scale, while you have this romantic love, and within that the parakiya, and within that there are divisions and so forth, and it comes ultimately to Radha's love is the full face of that love. This is the high end, and we've been talking about that. And that's what the poem or the song of Rupa Goswami is really about. But he ends the song on a low note, which is a high note also for us, by speaking about compassion. Compassion is on the lower end of the spectrum. Compassion is high in this world. We need compassion. It's said that in Vaikuntha, where there is Salokya, Shasti, Sarupya, Samipya, different types of perks of liberation, to live on the same planet with Narayan. Something like that. I think Gaurangi Priya once told me that, I don't always get to come out and visit, but when you're in North Carolina, I just feel better. Something like that. So Salokya is something like that. Living in Narayan's planet. There's a gradation of intimacy within these also. Salokya, Sarsti, Samipya, Sarupya, and so forth. So Sarupya means to have a form like Narayan's, and Sarsti means to have opulences like Narayan's. Samipya means to be a personal attendant of Narayan, so that would be on the higher end. It's said in this wonderful realm of Vaikuntha, Narayana, sometimes the desire surfaces in his heart to do what? To bestow mukti upon others. Understandably, because the full range of love has to be there in the Godhead, who's the perfect object of love. So what about compassion? And in order to, in this form, at least compassion, to bestow mukti, then how are you going to do that amongst a bunch of muktas? Surrounded by liberated people. Who are you going to give it to? You've already got it. So there's a need for another world. Here we are. This world corresponds with this necessary, if you will, desire to be compassionate on the part of the Godhead, if the Godhead is to be the full face of love, the object of love, especially when we speak of Krishna, of course, then all possibilities of love can be found in relation to him. So Narayan feels as such, and so the world. So he has a form that corresponds. We call it Mahavishnu, and the realm that the Mahavishnu presides over, and so forth. And the one, that Vishnu becomes the many, and so it goes. It's not something that happens in time, obviously, but we're limited by language to talk about it as if it did. At some point, he had a desire. It's an ongoing part of this reality. So this is the low end of love. It's a high end in this world to be compassionate. You know, it's everything's turned around here. So the parakeet is on the low end. Adulterous, as it would appear, love is on the low end. And then from there, you come to parental love. No, excuse me. Yes, parental love, and then parental love is good, but you go to friendly love, and then you can friends will tell you the truth, something like that. Only as much as parents become friends, they tell you the truth. Otherwise, it's hard for them. There's there to be pranay, equality, and so that's kind of love, the truth. And then we come to the love between the teacher and the student. That's even higher in this world. And there's no exploitation allowed there whatsoever. Right? There's a scandal of bad things. So this is the servile love. It's the high position. And then the thing is reversed, and kind of in between is this compassion that, which is general. It gives us the opportunity to go from here to there. And Rupa Goswami is having spoken about Radha, which we'll get to in his song, in a high sense. At the end, he prays for compassion and refers to her as Karuna Kurumai, who is Karuna Bharita, who is the very embodiment of compassion. So we do refer to her, as I did earlier at times, as Krishna's compassionate nature. And what that means, of course, is that, as I've said before, in every devotee, there's a little bit of Radha. Right? Radha is Bhakti Devi, Hladini Shakti. So the ingress of this Hladini Shakti, then to that extent that we have that ingress in our lives, we can really call ourselves devotees and take pleasure in the pleasure of Krishna's satisfying Krishna's senses, Krishna Indriya Pritivancha. So, because there's a little bit of Radha in every devotee, these devotees of Krishna, they are sometimes referred to by our foundational acharyas as the Kripa Shakti of Bhagavan. So they are the manifestation, the form through which he typically bestows his mercy. As I said before, there are two currents in the world: the current, the force, the influence of karma, and the influence of devotion. It's always here. And so to come in touch with that, we're said to have become fortunate, become bhagya, become lucky, to be what is that term? Fortunate.
Ati bhagya.
Bhagya, yeah, but I was looking at it. Starts with the
Yadricha means
that's always
actually
forget
independent.
Yadrichaya. Fortunate means you come in touch with a current that is outside of cause and effect or karma. So it's luck. It's not part of. There's no reason to love. We say in common English parlance, say love knows no reason. So devotees are sometimes said to causelessly. It means they give love. It means that love that is being given, the bhakti that is being given, the opportunity for bhakti that is being shared, is not within the realm of karma. There's not something you did that merits getting this kind of reaction. This is the realm of karma. We do something and in relation to the material environment, and there's a reaction that comes back, good or bad. Bhakti is causeless in this sense. It's not within Nityasiddha Krishna Prem, Sadhika Bonai. It's not within a result, an effect within the realm and jurisdiction of karma. It's coming from beyond that. And the devotees are the vehicles, the bearers, the carriers of that. And they try to spread, even in their, what is it, verse of Bhakti, Vaishnavas,
Living sound.
living sound and living try to spread the holy name around, something like that. They try their best to do. Those who think that Vaishnavas die, they reasons ill.
That's how it starts.
He reasons ill that says that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy name around.
Yeah. So die to live. They die to live. They die to the taking tendency within us and live. Then what will you do then? Then you've given up the taking, then you only have left is giving. So that's what they do. They give. They live to give. They die to live, and living give. Spread the holy name around and touch us with this current of bhakti. And this then is their compassion, or this is the manifestation of Bhagwan's compassion, the instrument. He has to kind of do that through his devotees, because the devotees who have, first of all, if the devotee has bhakti and he gives bhakti to someone, then Krishna has to go there. He has to, wherever bhakti is, he has to go. He can't not be there. But for the most part, Krishna's not personally involved, because then someone might fault him for being, what's the term? Bias. Preference. His devotees, they work and try to spread without discrimination. We were talking a little bit yesterday about the beginning of the 7th chapter, and this is described beautifully there, the Pancha-tattva's indiscriminate distribution, having plundered the storehouse of love of God. Now they've got the jewels, and they're just giving them out everywhere. It's a bit of a Robin Hood-esque, Bernie Sanders type of approach. Take from the rich, the prima donna, the wealth of Golok, and give it out to anybody and everybody. We don't want a middle class, though. We want it all high class. Everybody will be one high class. Everybody will be rich, praying. So the devotees, vancha kalpa tarugascha, kripa sindhu evacha, patitanam pavaniho vishnuvivanamana. Kripa sindhu, they are ocean of, sindhu means ocean of kripa, of mercy. This is this is our experience. We will tend to think that the devotee who saved me, who brought me to Krishna consciousness, who gave me the opportunity, who helps me, is so important in my life, and it's accurate to think so. So this is very much part of the Vaishnava, and this should, as I often say, come in a Vaishnava or Vaishnavi in our lives. As we practice, we should be, we have to get the low end of love. You have to pass through that to get to the high. We're not talking about Karuna Rasa, the where Krishna in Goloka becomes the object of Mother Yashoda's compassion as a secondary rasa that's compatible with Vatsalya rasa. Parents, you have to have compassion in relation to an inferior, in a sense, or a person who is needy, needs empathy, needs compassion, and so forth. So this is the fuller, if you will, or broader sense of compassion that comes in the Vaishnava, that is the kind of the representation then of Krishna's compassion. And as I say, each devotee in each devotee there's a little bit of Radha. So we reason well, I believe, when we say, and I think this is quoting Prabhupada here, that Radha is the compassionate nature of Krishna. Hmm? Hmm. And Rupa Goswami is acknowledging that here, while having spoken in the other verses of this song, we'll get to, about the high end of the nature of her love and so forth. He concludes with an appeal, Karunam Kurumayi, kind of brings it down to earth. Karunam Kurumayi, Karunam Bharite, you are full of mercy. Please be merciful to me, he says. Show me your mercy. Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite. And this really makes it as a real sobering line. Just a song about a girl, as I said, how she dresses to attract her lover, and so on. And here Rupa Goswami, this renunciate, then is praying for her compassion, seeing her as the abode of compassion. And he says what? He gives an indirect here deference to and glorification of who? Sanatana Goswami. What did we hear yesterday about his introduction to Lalita Madhava? What did he say there, Maharaj? Thought you know. Sorry. He said he said that that he offered his obeisances to someone, to Sanatana Goswami, whom he said is an incarnation of Sanat Kumar, the famous Kumaras, the four sons of Brahma, Chatusani Kumara. He says, Sanaka Sanatana Varnita. These four Kumaras, so it's obviously including Sanatan is included there. It's an overt or covert reference to and showing deference to Sanatana Goswami, his elder, his guru figure in his life. The original Gaudiya commentator on the Bhagavatam, original Gaudiya book, Priya Bhagavatamrita, Pallava Sambandha Gyan, giving us the distilled essence of the Bhagavatam and so forth. So he defers to him, and in the context of mentioning the fact that these four Kumar boys, they are Varnita Charite. They're always singing about, describing the character of this girl, Radha. So again, these are very sober people. If you thought Rupa Goswami was a strange kind of ascetic, not like the sannyasis, for example, that we were talking about, of Benares, who simply sat and studied Vedanta and instead he wrote poetry about young village girls, and he thought to be sentimental and emotional in the name of being a renunciate. He says, well, what I'm saying, what I'm doing, the Kumaras are doing that. You can't get more sober Gyanis than the Kumaras. We heard about them at some length during the Prahlad Charit description we were involved in here for the last couple of years. The Kumaras, or naked boys, they could go anywhere. They're completely objective. They have no bias and so on and so forth, and very sober people. Well, we told part of their story, of course, in relation to the appearance of Jai and Vijay, and ultimately Narasimhadev and so forth. But there's something that Rupa Goswami knows about these Kumaras, having intimate association with Sanatana Goswami, who he considers to be an incarnation of Sanat Kumar. And what is that he knows about an obscure text called the Sanat Kumar Samhita. And in the Sanat Kumar Samhita, the whole concept of Manjari Bhav, Radha-dasyam, that is the preoccupation of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, is explained. They didn't make that idea up. They could have, that would have been fine, but there's some reference, and the Kumaras have some insight into it. They're very learned, you see, the Kumaras. They know everything, all the Shastras and so forth. It may not be their particular preoccupation themselves, but Gyanis are like that. They know everything about everybody's tradition. That's what they do. They just absorb all. And so, Sanat Kumar Samhita is a beautiful description there of this Manjari Bhav. And so he defers or refers to them, and this is a very kind of sobering point. Again, he speaks about compassion, which is a very down-to-earth form of love that takes us that is universal, transcends bias. It's it lets the immigrants come in. It doesn't see borders, boundaries. It transcends the nation state and so forth. I didn't used to be that plugged into them, but with the internet, it's hard to avoid that. Knowing something about what they were doing out there. So that, and then the Kumaras, very sober people. So he wants to end his prayer on this note, in a sense, with the purpose of putting what he said previously in perspective. The things about Radha that just sounds unto itself like a song about a girl in love with a cowherd boy, and it's peculiar. He says, as the song begins, Radhe Jai Jai Madhava. Radhe Jai Jai Madhava. Gokulatarani Mandala Mohite. Radhe Jai Jai Madhava. Dahite. Gokulatarani Mandala Mohite. Radhe Jai Jai. So let there be victory to bhakti everywhere, something like that. She is the cry of the Gaudiyas, Jai Radhe. The triumph of bhakti for Krishna that she embodies. Let it triumph everywhere. She personifies that. And she, of course, in a sense, triumphs over Krishna as well. This is implicit in the shout. What do you call it? The shout, the call, Jai Radhe. I was once sitting with Chaitanya Goswami from the Radha-Raman Goswami families, and he was telling me how when he was a young boy, he met Prabhupada, and then he had a chance to ask Prabhupada a question, and he asked Prabhupada, what was the essence of, what was the best way to please Krishna? He said it was a sincere question. And he said, and Swamiji Prabhupada replied, oh, for that, you have to please Radha. He said, oh, then I believe it's so bona fide. Yes, that's right. That's right. I should have thought of that, of course, yes. Yes. So Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Dayite. It's very peculiar what he says at once. It's because Madhava means the springtime, which is the time of love. It's a time of of where there are new beginnings and a sense of prospect, prospect and growth and becoming. You know, ours is the doctrine of being and becoming. Usually we're taught to give up trying to the becoming and just be. The problem is you're trying to become. You should just be. There's some truth to that idea. We're trying to become what we already are. We're trying to become pleased. We're trying to become secure. But you are a unit of Ananda. You are a unit of Chit. You're trying to become, live in an enduring way. You already be. You already know. You're secure. You're a unit of the things that you're trying to be. Stop trying to be that you're trying to become. Stop trying to become, and see what you already are. These things. This is the general idea. So give up the becoming and be. But ours is a doctrine of being and becoming. You may be what we are, but again, what we are is that we are of a certain nature that lends itself to nurture. So if we can get the nurture of bhakti, then we can be in a becoming sense. We could not be otherwise. We could be Satchidananda, but not be a gopa or a gopi. That's a becoming under the influence of bhakti. And prem is what? One of its characteristics is that it's full and what else? It's full and ever increasing. So it's always, the spring is a beautiful name for Krishna, Madhava, because it's like an eternal idea. He's like an eternal spring. He's always becoming. He's always, this is Anurag, he always looks new. Just like you live with somebody, there's always something, finding out about her or him, wow, you're like that too. And wow, I didn't realize that. Where you can study yourself and find things that, with the help of another usually, about yourself that you didn't know, maybe ongoing to a point. But Krishna is every moment, every time Radha sees him, he looks newer, fresher. So there's never any prospect, any chance for boredom or repetition. So it's a being that's at the same time always becoming. I mean, look at the becoming that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna's being and he's becoming, trying to become as Radha. So it's a dynamic. This being and becoming is the dynamic and static togetherness kind of teaching or worldview. Veda Ved. It's Ved, it's Aved, static, and Ved, dynamic at the same time. So spring is a beautiful kind of time and a metaphor for describing the name Madhava. It means spring. So Radhe Jai Jai Madhava. But Madhava also means Madhava, means the husband of the goddess of fortune. And what we have here is that Rupa Goswami says, Jai Radhe. Madhava Dayate. Husband of the goddess of fortune. The general idea is that the goddess of fortune is Lakshmi, and her husband is Narayan. So this is a name for Narayan, in which Lakshmi's presence is included. So it's a very nice name. Lakshmi Narayan, Madhava, the husband of the goddess of the fortune, who is described in relation to his Devi, this goddess. So, Madhava Daite. In this sense, it means that what? The husband of the goddess of fortune has a girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
Daite means like girlfriend. Jai Radhe, the girlfriend of the husband of the goddess of fortune. It's a problem. Narayan has a girlfriend. in the form of Krishna, of course. No problem. Venkata told Mahaprabhu, no problem. Krishna and Narayan are the same. What was the problem Mahaprabhu proposed? Why Lakshmi, who's chaste to Narayan, wants to dance with Krishna? Venkata said, there's no difference between Narayan and Krishna. There's no problem there. Mahaprabhu said, oh, okay. How come she couldn't? Venkata said, problem there. Problem there. That you have to answer. I don't know the answer. Why Lakshmi could not enter the rasa dance with Krishna, follow like the gopis, and she won't become the girlfriend. She's chaste. You could look at it like that. So if Narayan has a girlfriend, I want to be that girlfriend, like that. No, we can't get there by competing with Radha. That's not going to be possible. There's a nice story in Vidagdhamata, the other drama of Rupa Goswami, that can help us appreciate the position of Radha in this regard, because Lakshmi is thought to be the personification of chastity. So Lakshmi is always with Narayan. She might be with you, this is another thing, sometimes, and you might be blessed and be fortunate, but Narayan's always fortunate. She's always there. She may share give blessing to other people, she's always with Narayan. And this is her only, her husband. So she's the Lakshmi and Narayan, the perfect example for the married families. Radha and Krishna are not a good example for the married families, but Lakshmi and Narayan. She's very chaste in Narayan, but here her chastity, in one sense, is brought into question, because while you can try to get away from it from the point of view of tattva and saying Narayan and Krishna are the same, so the fact that Lakshmi desired to go with Krishna doesn't bring her chastity into question. The fact is that Radha is completely chaste to Krishna, and she has no desire ever to go with Narayan. So she is Paradevata. We read in the morning of the Tantra verse quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj to describe the glories of Radha, which he said was necessary for us to understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, what was that? Devi Krishnamayi Prokta Radhika Paradevata. So she's the supreme goddess of fortune. If the goddess of fortune is characterized by her chastity, then we make an evaluation. And we see, yes, Lakshmi is chaste in Narayan, but what Krishna is a form of Narayan. So we say, okay, that you could look at it like that, but now look at it like this. Radha is the consort of Krishna, and she never desires to go with Narayan. Indeed, Narayan cannot even come before her. In the Vasant Rasalila of the springtime, showcased in the Gita Govinda, when Krishna leaves the rasa dance, in that lila, Radha left in the what's it called, Sarad Purnim Rasalila of the Bhagavatam. Krishna leaves with Radha in the Vasant, springtime, Rasalila of Jayadev's book. Radha leaves, and Krishna goes after her. It's more cute. They're making the point more strongly. And in the context of that, of course, the gopis go looking for Krishna. And in that poem, Krishna appears before the gopis as Narayan. They're looking for Krishna. He appears as Narayan, four-handed. And what do? They pay their obeisances to him, and they say, "You're God. Good. You know everything. Can you tell us where Krishna is?" They have no interest in him. But Radha's position is more extreme. Krishna tried to do the same thing to Radha, to show his form as Narayan, but he couldn't. He couldn't manifest the four arms. See, Radha and Krishna are one. Her love corresponds with Swami Bhagavan. He is the form that corresponds with her love. He couldn't even manifest the four arms. So anyway, the chastity of Radha reigns supreme. And as I said, there's a nice story. You probably have heard it before, but it's worth telling. Sri Rupa's Vidagdha Madhava. There's an incident in which Krishna appears to fall sick, to fall ill, and Mother Yasoda is she finds this very disconcerting, of course, and tries to minister to him, and it looks like he's got a fever and he's going to die. And have any antibiotics, so that's probably a good thing, possibly. So she called it for get an Ayurvedic doctor. And when Mother Yasoda wants something to happen, it's very intense Vatsalya Bhava for her son, and so the whole blood starts moving accordingly. Like I spoke the other day, she wants Radha to cook for her son because of the blessing of Durvas, and it's happening. It's so much happening that the mother-in-law of Radha, who's always on the watch for Krishna, running off with her daughter-in-law, nonetheless sends her daughter-in-law every day in the morning to cook for him, for the son of the king and queen of Vrindavan. So when Mother Yasoda is concerned, everybody's concerned. So she calls for an Ayurvedic doctor immediately. You've got to get a doctor, and so Krishna manifests in another form as the Ayurvedic doctor, and everybody's gathered around, of course, and Krishna comes in disguised as the doctor, examines himself on the bed. He says, he takes his pulse. I've understood the problem. He has a fever, and he will certainly die from it, unless we can bring water from the Jamuna in a pot that has holes in it. That's all we have to do. So that's a very peculiar doctor and a very peculiar prescription. But this is Vrindavan, and so of course then Mother Yasoda says, "That's a great idea. How do we do that? How do we bring water in a porous pot?" And the doctor says, "No problem. Thought you might ask that." And he said, "That can be done by a chaste girl, a girl who's chaste. The most chaste girl can do that." Chastity has power, apparently. So Mother Yasoda naturally turns to who? To Radha chaste. There's all kind of rumors about her. Last one you would turn to. She's never caught, but there's when there's smoke,
there's buzz in there.
There's fire. Yeah, this is so. No, she turns to Jatila. Radha's mother-in-law, who's always concerned about the chastity of every other girl. So obviously she must be very chaste. She must be the personification of chastity because she's always concerned about chastity everywhere she looks. Hmm? She sees unchastity where there is chastity, practically. Hmm? So it's said in the Bhagavad that what one thinks others to be like themselves. So when the porous pot that's produced from the doctor's bag, I just happen to have a porous pot. Part of my my equipment here, and Mother says, "Give it to Jatila, Jatila, of course." And so Mother sort of gives her the pot, and she won't even put her hands out. No, I'm not going to touch that. She's thinking, how's it possible I could bring? And then the water will pour out, and then people will think I'm not chaste. You can't bring water in a porous pot. Who is this doctor? Anyway, what kind of this is some, she's suspicious. Someone's gonna, trying to make me out to look unchaste. And so attention goes to Kutila, the sister-in-law of Radha, who's like on her mother's mother-in-law's side, and she's also always concerned about the chastity. But no, she won't touch it. Mother Yasoda is now frantic. The ladies who are most chaste, at least they appear to be, they're always concerned about the chastity of everybody. They won't take the pot. But what are we going to do? And Krishna, as the doctor says, I think she can do it. All eyes go on Radha. When Radha doesn't think, oh, if I go and I get the water and it'll pour out and my lack of chastity will be known, she just very innocently thinks, Krishna's sick, the doctor says it, I'll do it. So she takes the porous pot, she goes and fills it up, and Krishna mystically appears and puts his fingers in all the holes. Only those who have eyes to see can see. Radha can understand. Well, Krishna has arranged the whole thing, and he's protecting my chastity and making her known in the village as the most chaste lady of all. She is perfectly pure Swakiya in Siddhanta, in her Parakiya. Swakiya means she belongs to him only. And her chastity exceeds that even of Lakshmi, as I'm explaining. So Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite. Gokul Tarani Mangala Mohite. Gokul Tarani means amongst in Gokul there are many Tarani. Tarani means young girls. It's feminine. Tarani. So they're this is the beautiful also characteristic of Vrindavan in comparison to Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha there is one Lakshmi, and in Vrindavan, Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrahma Sevimana. Two things to note here from Brahma Samhita. In Vrindavan, there's not one Lakshmi. There are Lakshmi Sahasrasata, thousands of Lakshmis. As I said before, there's one Krishna and many Radhas. So Radha manifests aspects of herself as different devotees, different moods and sentiments and emotional realities of herself to tender to Krishna at any given moment. Lakshmi Sahasrasata, there were 1,000 Lakshmis. This is one thing. The quantity is greater. And Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrahma Sevimano. Sambrahma Sevimano. This is another thing. The quality also. In quantity, there's a difference. And in quality, there's a difference. They're endowed with a special kind, Sambrahma Sevimano, a special kind of love. Not like you find from Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. Very special kind of romantic sentiment, and samarati in particular. Samamjasa, samamya, samamjasa, samartha. Samartha means that Krishna's desires have become their desires. they have desires. They're Krishna's desires. This is again a dynamic kind of way in which they make union with Bhagavan. We'll speak of Lakshmi. In Dwarka, the queens have some personal desire, some sense of self-identity that needs to be maintained. Rukmini is the example. She wanted to marry Krishna, but she couldn't just take off. She had to arrange some type of Vedic marriage that it will be according to the scripture. There's what is that called, that Vedic marriage where the husband kidnaps the wife? It's one of the types. So, Gandharva marriage. So she had to send a letter to Krishna through a Brahmin. Krishna, please kidnap me. I want to marry you, but I can't violate the Vedas. I can't cross over the Dharma. So this is my hope that you will come and kidnap. Of course, he did. He married Rukmini, but gopis, they don't even think about it. Cross over the Dharma. They're gone. This is the example they set. What to speak then of Vaikuntha and Lakshmi? That's why when Lakshmi went to Vrindavan, lived in the forest and performed austerities. Lakshmi took off her jewelry and everything. She sat in the forest doing tapas, austerities, and eating roots and things that fell from the trees and so forth. She's used to a very royal diet, everything cooked in ghee and so on. And Krishna came upon her in the brush and said, Lakshmi, what are you doing here? She said, I've come here. I want to enter the rasa dance. He said, oh, well, that's easy. You don't have to do that stuff. You don't have to sit there and fast and eat roots and nuts and things. That's not the way. It's easy you can enter the rasa dance. You're Lakshmi. What do I have to do? She says, it's very simple. You have to give up your husband. And then she's, that's like, she's choking already. And he says, and then you got to marry somebody else. You got to give up Narayan as your husband. You got to live in the Braj, marry somebody else, and then you got to give him up, and run off in the night. And she's running back to Vaikuntha at that point. I can't do that. I have a certain study, Bob. I have a sense of identity that I have to live within, and so forth. Gopis, Vrindavan people, they're not like that. If it's said to please Krishna, the story of Narada was told by Krishna that, Narada, can you help me? Sure. And he said, I've got a headache. And well, what will be the cure? Get the dust from the feet of my devotees. And Narada said, okay, I'll do that. You got to be kidding. He's thinking on the side. He's testing me. He's going to test other devotees. So he goes all over the universe, asks all the devotees, Krishna has a headache. How can I help? He wants the dust from the feet. Oh, no. I'm not going to give the dust from my feet on Krishna's head. I passed the test. So Narada goes back to Vaikuntha, back to Krishna, and says, did you bring the dust? No, none of your devotees would give it. They all passed the test, something like that. Krishna said, none of them, not one of them. Krishna said, well, did you talk to those village girls in the Braj? Where? In the jungle, the cow people over there. There's devotees over there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Milk ladies. I didn't go there. So I'm going to ask them. So he goes and asks them. Krishna's got a headache. Can you give it? What do we need to cure that? Give the dust from your feet. So they begin to take the dust and give it to him. He said, whoa, do you know what you're doing? They said, yes. What are you doing? We're giving the dust from our feet to put on Krishna's head. Do you know what will be the result? Yes. What will be the result? We'll go to hell. Is there anything else you want? You step on Krishna's head, and will be an offense, right? So When Nard got schooled himself, he went back and he understood that Krishna had sent him to learn about the highest ideal of devotion, the kamikazes, if you will, of bhakti, suicide bombers of bhakti. This is the idea. So these are the Gokul Tarani. They have certain kind of love, samartarati. Their sense of self is fully identified with his pleasure. That's why they're one with him, one and different, in the fullest sense of the term. So Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Gokul Tarani Mandalam. And among the Gokul Tarani, the girls in the Mathura Mandal, Radha, of course, is supreme. Gokul Tarani. Gokul is a very, of course, nice word. This is Golok. You've heard of Golok. This is Gokul. Gokul is inside of Golok, in the center of Golok. Golok means go means like cows. Lok means world. It means people, the general people. So it's a place. It means a planet. So it's a country. It's a country of cows. A planet of cows. It's a planet of cow people. Goloka means people. It's a place of cow people. And but it's a broader name, and accordingly, within Golok, there are different possibilities of devotion. For example, there are the basic divisions of Golok: Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwaraka. Krishna is perfect in Dwaraka, more perfect in Mathura, and most perfect in Vrindavan. And at the lotus of Vrindavan, on its different petals, there are different opportunities of love. There's also the possibility of loving Krishna and Radha in Swakiya, where they're married. And some of the Nimbarkis, they like this idea, the Nimbark Sampradaya. But so this is an important point, because in Gaudiya Vaishnava we're talking about a specific area, Goloka Premada. Golok, but Gokul is the center of the world of the lotus of Golok. And Gokul is a more intimate word than Golok. Gokul, the family of cow people. It means it's more intimate. Golok is more general, more broad. Gokul is more specific and more heart-warming word. There, the greatest possible intimacy with Krishna is afforded in Gokul. Gokul Taruni, young girls, among the young girls of Gokul that are in the center of the mandal. Gokul Taruni Mandala. Gokul Taruni Mandala. It's a circle, a larger circle. This is a circle within the circle. Circle of intimate friends. Circles are, of course, circular ideas. It's very central to Hinduism. Cyclical time, the revolving leelas, going round and round, repeating, and so on and so forth. But unlike, I think, cyclical time probably first appears within Hinduism. It also appears amongst the Greeks, and Aristotle, and other cultures, and has, to a large extent, been retired in modernity with the idea of linear time that modern science hangs on to, even though it's born in Christianity, which they tend to be at odds with one another these days. But the linear time has some pragmatic, looking at time from, for example, as being linear, rectilinear, has some pragmatic results that can be derived from that perspective. But it's not a very it doesn't lend itself, the idea of linear, rectilinear time, to a peaceful mind, or to any meaning, really, overall meaning. So, and this is modern science, largely, its its uh, its claim to fame is its ability, pragmatic ability, to bring about certain results in our lives, to medicine, to gizmos and gadgets, and so on and so forth. But to give meaning to it, value, an overarching purpose, it basically denies these things. And linear time is like that. If nature is to be described, it has to have a pattern. A line has no pattern. It could be just accidental or random, a line. But a circle is a pattern. You see? A circle, it implies some intelligence and a pattern. It has a beginning, it has an end. A line, if it is defined by a point unto itself, line is made up of so many points. It can't be defined unto itself, because we can only define a thing by that which it is in relation to. But if we seek to define a point on a line in relation to the points that come before it, we cannot define it either. Because where do those points end? There's no end. If you want to know what came first, the seed or the tree, and you look at nature as being linear in terms of time, and you can't answer the question. It's just like, I don't know, because you keep going back, but there's no, where does it end? But if time is cyclical, you can give the answer. Either one, both, no problem. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So this cyclical perspective, the mandal, it fosters meaning. The Hindus did not arrive at an idea of cyclical time in a simplistic way, like other cultures did. For example, by looking at nature and the passing of the seasons, 4 seasons, and it comes back, the day and the night, and therefore time is cyclical. They looked at it in a different way. They located one thing around which they experienced everything is moving. And that one thing was what? The Atma. The Indian Vedic culture, very sophisticated in its language, Sanskrit, and its philosophical insight and so forth, describing an Atma, a permanent thing around which all things are coming and going, the eternal return, if you will. Samsara. So these and if nature is cyclical in its nature in terms of time, then it can't be described. It does have meaning, it has purpose, and it's a scope for that. So this is a very beautiful concept. Now, of course, there is insight in modern science that gives cause to lean towards looking at time as being cyclical in nature rather than linear. In both in classical physics, Newtonian physics, and in what's the other quantum anyway, a few things there. Written about it somewhere else, can't remember it all now. But so Mandala Mohite, so it's the circle of Gokul, and there are millions of Lakshmis there, Gokul Tarani, young girls, and amongst them Radha, who was the Daite, who's the dearest of Madhava. She's from Gokul Tarani Mandala Mohite. And then he goes on, what does he say? He says, Damodarati Bhadanaveshe. Damodarati. He invokes the name Damodar, which is a name for Krishna, of course, who means who's bound by the ropes, really, of love, as we find in the Damodar Leela. Damodar is also the name of the Vedic name of the month of Kartik, which is Radha's month. And it's thought, as is mentioned in the Puranas, that Vishnu Purana, that the nature of Kartik is such that a little bit done gets a big result. Little done, big result. A little service, the implication is to Radha in the month of Kartik, the Damodar month, then there'll be a result that far exceeds the effort that is put out. So anyway, he invokes the name Damodar and Damodarati, Bhagavadeshe. So she dresses only for the pleasure of Krishna. I had an experience like this many, many years ago in Los Angeles, in Prophet's Temple in New Dwarka, and I was putting on tilak. And some other guy was putting on tilak and wouldn't look in the mirror because it's vain, to look in the mirror. And I looked in the mirror and I thought, it's not like that. I said, the gopis are looking in the mirror for sure. And they're decorating themselves and everything. They're very careful how they dress and sort of, but all for the pleasure of Krishna. So this is bhakti. That's not like gyan, break all the mirrors and so forth. No. What do we say? But to the Gyanis, the renunciates, the tapasvis, and so forth, he said, our austerity is, just see, that we wear the hand-me-downs of Krishna, the royal prince of Dwarka. That's what we do. That's our renunciation. We eat only what he leaves off, which is a royal diet, his remnants. And for our clothes, my clothes, I only wear what he wears. What he wants to retire an outfit, then it becomes mine. It's a very nice idea because it's not like wearing ashes or going naked and these extreme austerities of self-denial and so forth to do away with the exploiting disposition that gets us in trouble, the taking disposition. Stop taking. It's very extreme. But this is so much more extreme. To only wear the clothes of Krishna, it's so much more extreme. To eat only what's offered to Krishna, it's so much more extreme because it's one thing, as I say, to give up taking. It's another thing to serve somebody. That's really the way to give up taking. You understand? It has the best defense is a good offense, something like that. So you're going to give up the taking ego by adopting the serving ego. There's no room for that to surface. When gyan unto itself, then it'll come up again. It will come up again. Only if there's bhakti. Shiva tried to kill Cupid. When Cupid disturbed his meditation, what did he do? He with anger, he burned the body of Cupid. What happened? Cupid's invisible. Now it's even worse. So it's just made the problem worse. And on the other side, we have the Kambi Jai, the rasa dance. Cupid comes to try to, he thinks this is a no-brainer, right? I'm going to attract Krishna, the gopis. They're like already attracted. It's a full moon. They're in the forest. It's springtime. It's a harvest moon. But of course, he becomes conquered by Krishna. Krishna shows himself as Madan Mohan, who can bewilder Madan, who can bewilder Cupid. And what is her name? Madan Mohan Mohini. Who can bewilder the bewilderer of Cupid. That is her power. That is the power of bhakti. And it shows in this way, dressing herself, very, very concerned. You see, this bhakti is very nice. It's like this. You'll be very concerned about everything you do. You do everything very nicely, everything right. Not like I'm doing this, but I'm over here remembering Krishna. I'm just trying to get this done so I can remember Krishna. It's not like that. doing it to get it done so then I can go and remember Krishna. Something, I'm doing everything perfectly. Like the example is that Rupa, that Mahaprabhu gave to Rupa Sanatan, what? Just keep yourself, you want to join me, but the king will be upset. To keep yourself like a Parakiya lover, who does not want anybody to find out. And therefore she does her household duties very, very nicely. Oh, you're doing the household duties so nice. Yes. There'll be no hint, no suspicion that that her mind is somewhere else. So for the mind to be on Krishna, it will show up like this. I'm doing all the services very nicely, high class, and very attentive there. It's being in the here, in the now. It's being there. Be there now. That's our saying. Be here. Be there now. By being here now, as I'm speaking about it. So Damodarati Vardhana Veshe, Hari Niskuta Vrindavi Pineshe. Hari Niskuta. Hari Niskuta means the Niskuta of Hari. That means like the hollow within the forest of Hari. Hari Niskuta Vrindavipina. Vrindavipina means the whole forest of Vrindavan. Eshe. So she is the queen of the whole forest of Vrindavan that Krishna has a small part in, like a little hollow in a tree, Niskuta. She's the queen she presides over the whole realm of Vrindavan. He's got a little place there. Something like that. This is the idea of Vrindavan Eshwari, Vrindavipina Eshwari. And Rishabhanu Dati means Navashashi Lekik, means Rishabhanu Dati. That she is the new moon, Navashashi Leke, born from the ocean of the love of Vrishabhanu. Vrishabhanu again is the name of her father. So his love for her is oceanic, and she is like the new moon. That moon seems to rise out of the ocean. I've told that story before, right? Our moon came out of the Pacific Ocean. You know that, right? Yeah. That's the moon was born from the ocean. It's a poetic device you'll find throughout the Gaudiya literature, but it's a scientific fact too. Just so happens that it is said this is the most current in theory today, that the planet Earth, when it was in its kind of gaseous, rustic form, then it was struck by a meteor, and that meteor made a hole that's now the Pacific, that holds the Pacific Ocean, and what came out splashed up and formed the moon. So the moon is born from the Pacific Ocean crater. It's pretty interesting, huh? Yeah. And Radha is the new moon, born from the ocean of Vrishabhanu Maharaj's love. Vrishabhanu Dadi Navashashi Leke. She's the new moon in that also she's born as the waxing moon, the 8th day of the waxing moon. So you have anyway. So that's new, but also new in the new moon. Get rid of the old moon. It also came out of the ocean, but it's not quite right. It's got marks on it. But she's perfect and pure. Nabhasashi Leke, Lalita Saki. Her friend is Lalita. Lalita Bisaki.
Lalita Saki Guni.
Lalita Saka Guna.
Saki Guna.
Ramita Vishaki.
Ramita Vishaki. So she takes great pleasure in her intimate friendship with Vishaka and her friend Lalita. These are the two very important gopikas to us in Gaudiya Vaishnavas because their position is unique in that they are qualified to be group leaders. Yuteshwari, like a Chandravali, for example, is a group leader, has her own manjaris, and relationship with Krishna. So they're qualified to be group leaders, but they subordinate themselves to Radha nonetheless. Hmm? Then Arupa Goswami comes in as following Lalita Sakhi. Hmm? So very, very, very dear to Radha. This way, Rupa Goswami has sung something about her and tried to convey to us the significance of her position in Krishna Lila. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, and we are his followers. Rupa Nuga Varga ki jai. And so we have a new follower. So come forth here, please come and accept all of these wonderful gifts from our Sampradaya that will identify you as a Vaishnavi. And we will begin with the Kanti Mala, the neck beads made from the sacred Tulsi, who in Gaudiya Vaishnavism is represented by Vrinda Devi. She can give everything. She knows everything because she's always talking to Purnamasi. She knows everything. She can give everything. So very nice neck beads, very beautiful. This is a sign of the devotee. This will protect you because people will see you and go, "Oh, you're a devotee." Yeah, right, I'm a devotee. Right? So there's one thing. And then we give the tapa and the pundra also. So tapa means austerity, and it means knowledge also. So from austerity we can get knowledge. It means by restraining the senses, which is the austerity, we become active intellectually and thoughtful. The more we're just a party animal, the less we think, right? So even if you're involuntarily forced to perform some austerity by being kidnapped and locked up, and so then you'll survive by becoming deeper mentally and intellectually. So tapa means fire, implies sacrifice and austerity and knowledge. So we have a form of that. It's very beautiful also. In the Vaidhi Marg Sampradayas, for example, of Ramanuja, they have the tapa, and they have these, at this time, they have a branding iron. And then they brand the initiate with the symbols of Vishnu, chakra, the conch, and so forth. But in our Sampradaya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's very easy for Kali Yuga. The austerity for Kali Yuga is what? Ekadasi. That's it. Ekadasi and one other thing, living with one another. Well, they're developing devotees. But we mark the body with the name of Krishna. So this is a stamp, tilak, or sandalwood paste. It says Krishna. Well, there. There. Very nice. That didn't hurt, huh? I'm not supposed to. And then tilak. So you need to have tilak. Pundra. Pundra means a straight up tilak, not this kind of the shy bites. And then there's tilak. The Vaishnavas, they mark the body 12 places with tilak, the names of Vishnu. You can learn that from Bhakti Lata, right?
Sure.
She knows that, see? And when in the morning you'll do your japa and so forth, put on tilak, and it'll be very conducive. It's a way of entering into your sadhaka deha, the practitioner's body. This bottom piece is supposed to be like a tulsi leaf. Perfect. Okay, so that's the tapa, the pundra, and then we can also give the yagya, or the right to engage in yagya. Typically, at diksha, that will mean the right to engage in archam, and you see the mantra, but right now I'm giving you the Harinam Nam mantra, and so the corresponding yagya, which is actually more significant than the sacrifice or the realm of ritual and deity worship, is the Sankirtan. So that's a blessing to the kirtan. So, and then mantra, here will be the Nam mantra, Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah, so tapa, and count them, pundra, yagya, mantra, and nam. So I will give you the mantra, and I will give you a name. And first we have to have a small private communication. So I want you to chant on your beads a certain number of times. And these beads here, they're for counting. And how many think are on here?
16 plus 4.
That's right. And the next 20, right? So you have a large, you have, as you can see here, everybody can see, you have a string, a large string of beads and a small string, right? There's two, large one and a small one. Which one's large and which one's small? Obvious, right?
Yeah.
This is the large one down here. Whoops, I did it wrong. This is the large one, and this is the small one. You can expect the answer like that and go to your vice. So when you do one of these, 16, then you pull down like this, one of these. You do another 16, and you pull down one of these, then a third, and then a fourth, and that's 1 lakh. So I want you to chant 1 lakh every day. That's a goal to work towards, something like that. Bhaktivinoda used to say you chant 1 round, and then 2, gradually as the taste increases, and come to 1 lakh. So the way you do this is you attach it to this bag where Sanatana Swami says the bead should be kept in the bag, and then as one finger comes out, and then you like this, and you chant with the thumb in the middle finger. Then you tie this on here, like this, something like that. And then you can pull these down, and then this one. Okay. Maybe a while we get to that, I'm sure. Okay, so now come and tell me if you want to chant a certain number. Okay, good number. And do that every day. You start with the large bead here when you chant around. See, this it's like a tree. So it's big at the bottom and it's small at the top. And this is I guess this is the fruit here. So Krishna beads. So you start and you go around like this, chanting the mantra on each bead. You get here, the top of the tree, then come back down again. This is so many times, right? And then those with the counting, right? Keeping track. Have any questions before we go? 4? No. Okay. Come a little closer, and I'll do the mantra. Okay, so your name is Rasakeli. Rasa Kali, baby, Rasi. Kali means like play, so Kali like play. So the play means your Rasi, servant of the play of love play of Rasamunda, of aesthetic rapture. It's a very nice name. Rasa Kali, Rasi Jai.
Jai.
So we ask all the Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis, please, you can take one moment now, you think for a moment to give a blessing to the new initiated member that she may chant without offense and make progress in non-seva, non-dharma. Just 2 seconds, please. Shishi Gaurada Madhu ki jai, Raji Gopal ki jai, Gaur Nityananda ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Rasi Rai. Okay. I'm coming to Madhavan again. Okay. Still up in Canada.
I'm rearranging my life a little bit, so this next year I'm just gonna work and try to save quite a bit, so I can have a little target. And I'm moving outside of Toronto and the friend has an extra apartment here in his giant house, and it'll be very little rent, so that I can have a couple months off in the winter.
Oh, Madhavan. That's great. I think it'll happen this year.
It'll be 2017, because I need the year to prepare and get everything set, so, yeah.
Good. Clearly planned, so I'll be, get a couple months to spend with you.
So, yeah.
That's how you to the disciplist. That's how you to the disciplist.
Oh.
Okay.
Immediate, look at that, you can't even breathe.
He wants to read the privacy notice, right?
I never
We
got
want
that.
your information, and we know.
Today, as of
everybody, and
September
we're only
4,
keeping it for this purpose,
2015.
only so that Swami can keep in touch with you. You'll never share it with anybody else.
The
Then you get those
privacy.
things from the bank. He's doing that. Thank you, Seva. What's the time?
12:15.
Should I stop?
Yes.
Hi.